Here we are at line A13. This is the community. We have the church over here. We have the crew over there loading up the rig, and they're going to move it on the other side of the church, and we are going to get started drilling. There's Nikki. Morning.
All right, well, this is where it's going to happen. We've got the stake in the ground. It is, actually had to do a little dirt work to make this thing open up, but yeah, this is where it's going to happen. So, what do you think, Trace?
It's going to be good. Nice open space. We have some air. Really good.
Okay, so this video, this is a little bit of preemptive, but these are what they call settling pits. And if you see, this is probably about 4.5, 5 feet deep. And there's a trench up to Greg's standing where the well's going to be. But this is the first settling pit, and then this is the second settling pit. And we will explain a little bit about that later when we start talking about how the well's going to built. All right, this is where it's going to be. Speak now. What do you think, Carla?
It's going to be great.
So one of the tasks that we have to do is we have to mix drilling mud. And that's what Tracy and Nikki are doing right now. You essentially just circulate the water in there, and then you pour bentonite grout. The bentonite's actually from Wyoming, but it makes a thick, kind of a soupy mud. You can take, it kind of looks like a little soup, and you just agitate it around a little bit. But yeah, that's what they're doing, and they're putting tarps up, so we'll get the site covered. All right, so we're getting close. This is the bit we're going to use. It's actually called a claw bit from Shawnee, Oklahoma, and Mills Machine, actually. And so basically the way it works is this is the bit. This is a center cone or a pilot bit, and then these are cutters, and they actually rotate. Okay, and then you see holes, these little circulation holes in the bit. Okay, so essentially when you put the pipe down, when you screw the pipe down on there, you basically got a long pipe, but these holes, that's where the mud will come out, and it'll actually clean these cutters off, and they actually spin and they cut a hole as they go around. So anyway, that's what we're going to be putting on, and not too far from drilling. Okay, so we're getting pretty close. We got Tracy and Nikki over there mixing mud. We got Gregoria over there supervising. Callie, I don't know, I'm not sure how you do it, but yeah, so the rig's about ready to go. We're gonna put the bit in and start making some hole, but so we're putting the bit on and fixing to start drilling. Got the caballo over there. So a really common question that I get asked is, what do I wear? And the answer to that is you got to wear long pants, obviously, but the big thing about Guatemala is, or I mean down here in Central America, out here where we drill, it's typically pretty hot. So if you look at Tracy and Nikki, the pants that they have on are really like real lightweight fishing pants. You can get them at Academy, you can get them Cabela's, stores like that. And then compression shirts or these sweat resistant or these dry fit shirts, those are excellent to do because they dry real fast. Honestly, a lot of the clothes that I bring down here and work in, most of them never get back home. But yeah, those are the best things to wear. Obviously you can see you got some trail boots, or you can wear rubber boots if you want to. The thing about rubber boots is they do get pretty hot during the day. And the thing about rubber boots is they keep water in just as well as they keep water out. So yeah, just a little tip on what to wear. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain this process. If it's too loud, but that's another thing. If you come on a trip like this, be sure to pack a bunch of earplugs because it is pretty loud. As you can see, he's shoveling out the trench, and those things that he's shoveling out are actually coming from down the hole. So if we go through this process, so the water that we have over in the circulation pits, the second settling pit, actually goes down, goes back up, goes through that red hose, back up to Kelly, back down into the pipe. As Vanna is pointing out, goes back into the pipe and then goes down the hole and then shoots out of the bottom of the bit, like we showed. Once the water comes back up to the top, then it goes back down the trench, goes over here, goes down to the first settling pit. Remember, this was about 5 feet deep. So it gets in there, the mud settles down, the water goes off of the top, it goes through a couple of screens to filter it out a little bit more, and then finally gets down to a second settling pit where we suck the water off, goes into the circulation pump, and then back to the rig, and it repeats the process. So that's how the drilling process works. It's actually pretty simple, but there's a lot of things involved with it, a lot of pieces that have to come together. But this is actually a really good setup. The hill's kind of structured real well. Got a lot of good help. So yeah, that's a good well. So a very common question that I get asked is, how hot is it when you get down there? Well, right now it's just a little bit below 90 degrees Fahrenheit and about a little bit below 60% humidity, and it's about 10:30 in the morning. So yeah, so there's that. So you can kind of see this is where they're shoveling the cuttings that are coming right out of the hole. And if I'll tip it up just a little bit, you can start to see white specks. Those white specks in this area are actually pumice. You know, like a pumice stone, like you use in your feet, but you take them, they actually break apart pretty easy. They're pretty crumble, but they're extremely abrasive, obviously. But yeah, that's what you get. Further down you go, we'll eventually get into some volcanics. Hey guys. Hey, it's Tuesday morning. It's about 7 o'clock, and we are preparing to put the casing down the hole. So I'll explain how that works, and so we'll get that part of it explained before it goes down the hole so you can see it. So casing for us is basically 4-inch PVC pipe. The 4-inch PVC pipe is like Schedule 40. It's pretty stout stuff. Now, if you notice on these, some of these are solid, like as in this one right here. Some of them have slits in it, like right here. I'll try to zoom in a little bit closer. But these slits are made with like a Sawzall blade. And so when we talk about the setting the casing, the part of the casing that you place in a water-bearing formation is this casing that has the slits in it, and that's commonly referred to as screen. And so it provides a slit into the water, or provides a slit inside of the pipe that the water can pass through. Okay, so the way that we do this is essentially in the bottom of it, we put a cap on the end, and that goes on the end of one of these 4-inch pieces of PVC pipe. One of the common misconceptions that folks have on putting a water well in is that you drill down and you're actually getting down to a place where you've got this underground lake or underground river. I'm not saying that it can happen, but it's very uncommon. and just darn near everything you'll ever put in from a water well perspective is done at what we call the water bearing formations. So yesterday, as we were drilling, every 5 feet we would take a sample, and those samples enable us to come back and tell what's going on. So for instance, this bag was at the 25 feet, so this tells us what was there at 25 feet. Now we keep doing this, and you can see, okay, here's 85 feet, here's 110 feet, or actually 170 feet, 140 feet. You get the idea. And so what that allows us to do is it allows us to see, or kind of get a picture of where those water bearing formations are. And a water well, if you can imagine, is a lot like a straw. So with the PVC pipe that you see over there, the PVC casing acts as the straw. So you want to put the straw in areas where the water can flow freely. And typically that's around gravel or rock, like fractured rock. Pumice carries water fairly well down into volcanic soils, etc. So that's essentially where we want to put the casing. Now, everywhere where there's a water-bearing formation, we want to put the casing that has the slits in it, or the screens. And then when the screens are setting in the water-bearing formation, once we get all of this down the hole, which I'll video, once we get all of this down the hole, we'll what they call gravel pack it. And so all of the outside of the pipe and the inside of the hole that we drilled, once we get the tubing in, once we get the casing in, we will gravel pack it so that you'll have a casing that is surrounded by gravel, surrounded by rock, and then you have the actual borehole itself. And the gravel keeps sediment and keeps the impurities, or keeps the rocks from, or the soil from impacting the screen and plugging that off, and provides water inside to the end of the inside of the casing. Of those samples that we take every 5 feet on every drill string, what we do is we take and we identify what is in each formation. And if you can kind of see as we go through this, if this is how we have constructed the well, you'll notice the places like this 15 that's slotted, that's where a screen was, 10-foot slotted, that screen, and then a 15-foot slotted piece, that screen, and then everything that's solid is solid PVC pipe or solid casing, and then everything from here up is solid casing. So if you notice, the places where we have screen are places where we see formations that will be water bearing. So you'll have pumice, sand, gravel. We got into a little bit of gravel here, and then it started to be clay down towards the bottom. So that's essentially how you do it. And if you think of this casing, this is the casing, the PVC pipe, you think of that as a big long straw that goes down into the ground. And everywhere where you have these slits, water is coming into the formation, or water coming out of the formation into these slits through the gravel, and fills this, and then fills this casing. So the water will have a static water level of, let's say, approximately 25 to 30 feet. We'll measure it. So the water will actually sit inside of the casing up here about 20 feet. And then you'll come in and you'll put your pump down here, let's say at 50, 60, 70 feet, somewhere 30, 40 feet below the static water level. So it's always sitting in water, and that's what pumps up the water, and that's how a water well works. This is my new casing set Amigo. We're going to be putting this water well in. ¿Cómo se llama?
Santiago.
Santiago. This is mi amigo Santiago. It's all bueno. All right, so here we go, setting the casing. This is going to be the first, or actually it'll be on the bottom of the well.
No lo va a topar el suelo. Sí. Camínelo aquí. Camínelo usted, que usted ya sabe cómo está. Va, déjese lo que lo camine, él ya sabe. Ahí va. Cuidado, güey. Vámonos.
So what happens here is we set this 20 feet casing on the drill table, and there's a slip that keeps it from going down the hole. You'll see Jaime move that slip over, and then we'll put the casing inside of that slip. And just kind of cleaning some of the stuff, cleaning a little bit of the top out, make it where it'll go a little deeper or go a little easier. And then now, casing will slide in the hole. Casing will slide in the hole, and it will set on the plate so it doesn't go down the hole. And it'll set on the bell end or the female end of the pipe.
All right, next. Siguiente, jóvenes.
And then we'll take another one. We'll do the same thing.
That got in the dirt.
That's all right.
Okay, you hold this with them. Don't touch the plate, okay? Okay, you do it.
All right, so now they're going to glue it.
Okay, glue.
Gonna glue the PVC.
Next part that you do, hold this on the
Ready? Uno, dos,
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it?
And we'll wait 3 minutes.
Just you, because you are doing the
And
entire.
we'll do the next one. Wilson drew the short end of the straw today. So he is up on the rig guiding the pipe. So if they ever ask you to do that job, just tell them no. All right, so we're putting the last piece on.
Excuse me.
Putting the last piece on.
Discute.
Is that what you said?
Disculpe. Like
Oh, I thought you
D-E-S-C-U-L-P-E.
just scoot over. Just scoot.
Just get out of my way.
What we're doing right now is we are gravel packing. So we've got the casing in, the casing that had the screens on it, and we're putting gravel down the hole. Now, so the gravel goes down the hole, and we run water from the inside of the pipe to the outside of the pipe. So basically there's the entire annulus is full of water, so everything outside of the casing and inside of the drill hole is full of water. And so it stops the gravel from bridging off down there. We'll use about 40 buckets of gravel and get the gravel down to a certain point, or up to a certain point, and then we'll top it off with hole plug, and we will go from there.